There are over 100 dragon species in DreamWorks' Viking universe, and while they're all incredible creatures, some are way more powerful than others. If you want to join Hiccup's team, are you really ready to pick your dragon? Let's start with one of the most powerful and beloved dragons among fans, the Light Fury species. And while pretty much everyone loves this creature, it's important to note how rare they are. No human has ever trained a Light Fury, and that's easy to understand since they can hide in the clouds thanks to their white scales. They shoot explosive plasma from their mouths and can reach supersonic flight speeds. It's important to make something clear, Light Furies are not the same species as Night Furies. They're very similar, and they can even have babies together, but DreamWorks has confirmed they are separate species. The only known Light Fury is female, and she showed she can use her plasma to teleport, which is an incredible ability unique to her kind. But just to be clear, today we're showing you the 16 most powerful dragons in this universe. But this list does not consider dragon-human partnerships, because that just wouldn't be fair. Now, if you really want to know what we do consider, it's you being here. So grab your popcorn, because it's time for another Cinewave. Night Furies are without a doubt one of the most powerful dragon species in the entire universe. And not just because Toothless is the star fire breather of the movies. A Night Fury can launch explosive plasma from its mouth, fly faster than nearly any other dragon, and on top of that, it can summon and attract lightning during thunderstorms. That might actually explain its name. Maybe it was called a Night Fury because it can create massive storms. But that's just a theory, since no one has ever really seen Toothless use that full power, just a hint of it, when our favorite dragon summoned lightning in the third movie. If you want to train a Night Fury, you better hope you get lucky and find one. They're super rare. Seriously, ask Hiccup. He knows one. The Nightlight is a brand new dragon species. It's the result of a Night Fury mating with a Light Fury, but there's still a lot of mystery around this type of dragon. The animated series hasn't explained whether they're more powerful than their parents or if they're actually a weaker version of the two originals. But the theory is that a Nightlight might be able to combine the best powers from both parents. The other issue is that it might not be possible to control a dragon like this, since, as far as we know, a Light Fury doesn't accept humans. So if you choose one of these to train, you're gonna need way more than just its trust. Are you ready for that challenge? Now let's talk about a dragon that literally can't be controlled by anyone. The Red Death is a massive monster that lives up to 2,000 years and right before dying, lays tons of eggs in its nest. The hatchlings fight each other in battles that last centuries, and the ultimate winner becomes the one to take over the nest permanently. This dragon barely ever travels, and it prefers staying deep inside mountains. It's bigger than almost every other dragon, has a roar that can control other monsters through fear, and above all, is so massive that its power can destroy entire armies. The Red Death has no real weakness except for the flammable gases it carries inside. Aside from that, the fire blasts it shoots from its mouth are basically endless. So don't even think about trying to train this dragon, it will never obey you. The Bewilderbeast is another nearly unstoppable dragon. It's a massive ice monster that lives deep under the ocean. It's not called the Bewilderbeast for nothing. It has a mind-controlling roar just like the Red Death, and its body is so heavy that it can't fly, which is why nature didn't bother giving it wings. Even so, this monster is super fast in water and can sink warships in seconds. It can be trained, but remember, it breathes ice and doesn't fly. So what about you? Would you rather have a fire-breathing dragon or an ice one? Drop a comment with #dragon so we can get to know ya. Speaking of sea dragons, let's talk about the Thescaldron, a type of water dragon that doesn't breathe fire or ice. What it does do might actually be way more brutal. The Thescaldron spits boiling water to melt and literally cook its enemies. Sounds like a terrible way to get hurt. Unlike the Bewilderbeast, the Thescaldron can't survive outside of water. If it does, its scales dry out. So it's basically the perfect dragon for anyone who loves going to the beach. Just a heads up though, boiling water still burns. Now, picture a dragon that's basically indestructible. That's the Razer Whip, a dragon with a body covered in metallic scales. Its wings and tail whip can slice through steel and rock like it's nothing. And even though it doesn't breathe fire all that often, that's not really a downside. This kind of dragon can win almost any aerial battle, and that's easy to understand once you realize it's immune to nearly everything, except for strikes to the belly. So yeah, be super careful around this one, because defeating it is not for beginners. The Sentinel dragon is one of the rarest species out there. They're almost made of stone, since they can stay in the exact same spot for days. They act as protectors of the dragon graveyard, and their main power is generating ultrasonic shock waves. In other words, a deafening roar that hits like a weapon. The downside is that they're completely blind, so they rely heavily on their hearing. Since they're dragons that prefer standing still rather than flying, training a Sentinel takes serious patience, because it's going to be a long process. So what do you think? Would you give it a shot? The Stormcutter is a dragon that has a major advantage over all the others. It's got 4 wings instead of just 2. DreamWorks actually based this creature on owls, so it can turn its neck all the way around. That means it can breathe fire in any direction. Doesn't matter if you attack from above or below, that mouth will find its target, and the fire will follow. Its 4 wings also give it the ability to fly higher and faster than most dragons. That's exactly why it's called Stormcutter, because it's always flying above the clouds. The Bonenapper is one of the weirdest dragons in the entire How to Train Your Dragon universe. It was born almost completely without protective scales. In other words, it has extremely thin and vulnerable skin. That's why this dragon developed a strange habit. It steals bones from dead dragons and builds itself a suit of armor. Once it puts the bone armor together, its power goes way up, and it becomes nearly unstoppable. But here's the catch: its weakness is the armor itself. The protection has to be complete in order for the dragon to unleash its full strength. So if you want to beat this beast, all you have to do is knock off part of its armor, and boom, it loses all its power. And if you want to get videos every day, just subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This next dragon doesn't breathe fire, ice, or plasma. The Skril is perfect for anyone who loves electricity. It collects lightning through its metallic spikes and can store an almost infinite amount of energy. Of course, its main weakness is water, so technically, if you want to take one down, just grab a hose. Just kidding, it's not that easy. Skrils are super fast, just like real lightning bolts, but if you really want to beat one, you'll need to lure it somewhere with lots of water. Pretty sure bath time isn't their thing. The Catastrophic Quake is a dragon with the ability to cause earthquakes. It can curl into a giant ball and slam the ground hard enough to make the earth shake. This dragon has a double mouth with 2 tongues, and there's a reason for that. Most dragons have a limit to how many fire blasts they can shoot, but not the Quaken. It has an edge. All it has to do is eat a bunch of rocks with that giant mouth, and its fire recharges. That means it's always ready to go back into battle. So yeah, its firepower is basically unlimited. But the downside? The Catastrophic Quake is super slow. It's sluggish and makes an easy target, which means its biggest weakness is a faster dragon. Would you trade speed for raw power? The Submaripper is a sea dragon that for years was the absolute worst nightmare for the people of Berk. With its giant mouth, it swallows up massive amounts of water, and along with that, a whole lot of ships end up stuck inside its belly. For a long time, Berk kept losing warriors and supply shipments that just happened to cross paths with a Submaripper. They don't breathe fire, but they will swallow pretty much anything. So yeah, maybe think twice before going for a swim at the beach. The Deathsong is a dragon that does exactly what its name suggests. It has a roar strong enough to destroy all of its enemies, which technically makes it the most powerful dragon, right? Well, not exactly. First of all, this dragon is born only once every 100 years, so it's extremely rare. There are people who go their whole lives without ever encountering one of these monsters. Second, its weakness is hot water, meaning that the Thescaldron dragon could actually beat the Deathsong in a fight. Still, taking down one of these is no easy task. It eats just about anything and is completely immune to Toothless's explosive plasma. Good thing Hiccup and Toothless make such a strong team, because this enemy is no joke. The Snow Wraith is a winter dragon that's absolutely unbeatable in frozen environments. It can turn anything into ice, but it can't survive outside its own habitat. The Snow Wraith is super powerful, but is completely dependent on icy mountain ranges. Still, if you love the cold, you might just spot one up at the North Pole. The Mare is a dragon that looks like a ghost in the sky. This creature has a glowing, luminous body, which usually isn't a big deal, but once it feeds on a certain type of sea algae, it transforms completely. Its body becomes brighter than the sun. It can blind enemies and light up the night like it's daytime. But the Mare's biggest weapon is its paralyzing mist. With that power, this glowing beast can freeze enemies in place, and when combined with its intense light, it becomes a sailor's worst nightmare during a nighttime voyage. The scariest part is that this monster actually likes to lure and sink ships, which makes it one of the biggest concerns for Vikings whenever they set out to sea. If you're planning to ride one of these, you might want to invest in some high-quality sunglasses, because the dragon's light doesn't just target enemies, it blinds everyone within reach. Now, if you want to know what's already within your reach, just know that we've got 2 more videos lined up for everyone to enjoy. We'll catch you in the next episode. See you soon!